everybody, AJ Ryzik here, and today we'll be looking at Zorin OS8. I got a request from Twitter asking for me to take a look at Zorin OS8, do a quick review on it, and so that's what we're going to do today. This is not my first experience with Zorin. I ran it on one of my laptops for a while, and it's a pretty nice operating system. Very good for a new user to Linux systems. There are some features of it that for a more experienced Linux user who wants to tweak the desktop, it may cause you some frustrations. And I'll kind of explain that later on as we go through things. Um, but all in all, it's a great system for a new user, especially for somebody that just wants to install the operating system and then just go with the flow and not really do a whole lot of tweaks and changes and all that kind of stuff. Um, Zorin is based on Ubuntu. The current version of Zorin OS8 is based on Ubuntu 13.10. Um, from what I've seen in the past, it looks like Zorin lags one release behind Ubuntu. So, we just saw Ubuntu 14.04 release, so Zorin's working off of 13.10. Um, you got to give these the software guys a little bit of time so that they can uh, develop their packages to work with the new software. So lagging a few months behind, no real big deal there. Although for the more advanced user, that is someone that always wants to have the latest and greatest of the new software that's out there. That can be a little frustrating, and I understand that. But let's take a look at what we got here. Here is the stock desktop. Other than adding my screen recorder so that I can make this video, I have not done anything to this install. So this is how you're going to see it from the factory, so to speak. Menu over in the bottom left hand corner. So we got this taskbar across the bottom. A menu in this corner. And very Windows 7-ish look to the menu. And a little bit later in this video, I'll show you how you can actually change the look and feel of the desktop with a built-in desktop changer. But anyway, there's your menu. We've got a taskbar showing our current open items, and then it's also got quick launches for internet and music files. You can add other launchers to that. The bar across the bottom is Avante Window Navigator. So if you've never used it, that's what you're looking at here. You can change the look of it a bit, add some different applets to it, and I'll show you that in a bit. But so anyway, over on this side of the taskbar, let's see, it comes with we've got our keyboard layout. This is just the indicator for my screen recorder. Your internet settings here. Your current stat. Yeah, wow, I cannot speak today. Wow. Our current chat status, offline, away, busy, all that kind of stuff. Battery monitor, and right here we've got our volume indicator, and along with it, integrated into it is you can play and fast forward and all that kind of stuff for your music player. We got our time right here, as well as calendar. You can add events right there from the desktop, which is pretty cool. And then by the little cogged wheel, we've got our lock screen, log out, log on, shut down, restart, suspend, all that kind of stuff. Installation on this operating
All right,
system was
many of
fairly
us,
easy.
when we're installing a
The
Linux
install
operating
looks
system,
just like the one
we're
used
installing
by
it
Ubuntu.
on a laptop or computer that
It probably
originally
is the same installer.
came with Windows.
One difference I
One
did
of
see,
the
for those of you
issues
who
many of us
have worked with
find
the Ubuntu
is
installer, you know how
the
when you're
wireless
doing your
drivers.
installation, you have a choice of adding or
And something
not
cool
adding
that
the proprietary and third-party
Zorin
software.
comes with
That
is
option
they've
is
got
not
a
given
Windows wireless
on this
driver.
installer. In fact, it just simply says,
Um,
along with this
Not actually a
operating
driver,
system, you
but
will be installing third-party
it is an
software. And
application
I guess that's
that allows
part
you
of
to
the deal with
install
Zorin
Windows
is
drivers
they're
and use those
on one hand
for
they're going to make sure
wireless
that
cards.
everything works.
Now, a lot on the other
On
hand,
a majority of
to get
wireless
that, you are
cards
going to need
out
that
there,
third-party
there is
proprietary software. So,
either a generic card will work, you got to
not
take the good
generic
with the
card,
bad,
but
I
generic
guess.
driver will work,
Um,
or
and as far
there
as
is a
during the installation,
proprietary
I had
third-party
no
driver
problems at all
for
whatsoever. Nothing
Linux,
crashed or anything. Everything went
but not
nice and
always.
smooth. Just
This
like in
application will
Ubuntu,
allow you to
the
use
installer
the
has
stock
the
Windows driver, which
instructions
is
that'll kind of
pretty
guide
cool.
you along. So
Because there
even
are
if you're
yeah
new to
there
this
are
operating
those
system, as long as you can follow
difficult cards out
directions,
there
you shouldn't have a
that
problem.
we may need a little help with. So that is
When I pulled up the menu,
it's one of those little
I don't know if
applications
you
that this
noticed,
comes with
the neat
that really will help out those people
window
making the move from
animations,
the
and if you
Windows
watch when you
side.
switch around on the window, of course that one just kind of disappears there. But let me switch between. See how the really nice animations there. Um, and what you're looking at is they are you have Conky added, and or I'm sorry, not Conky. Comp is, where's my brain at? Um, and here's the comp is config settings, the manager. And I haven't made any changes here, but this is your standard comp is settings manager. I haven't gone through to see if every one of the comp is plugins is installed. It looks like there is. For those of you that like the 3D Windows, that's there. The cube is there. Cube gears can be added. I mean, you can see there's for those of you that like the wobbly windows, it's there. So lots of compiz effects. So if you like those effects, it's preloaded for you, and you can tweak it to your heart's content. So there's some neat stuff there. I know a lot of people really like the wobbly windows. I'm not such a big fan of it, but I do like when you're switching the windows here. I like the effects that you see, and when windows are closed, I like those effects. I like that. The wobbly windows thing, to me, that's more annoying than anything else, but it's one of those personal preference kind of things. So let's take a look at some of the stuff. Yeah, the software. I still can't talk. Wow. The software that comes pre-installed. I'll just kind of go through it all real quick here. We got an archive manager, calculator, font viewer, screen. Most of this is pretty standard stuff. Um, Games. They've got a couple of games preloaded. Um, Sudoku, Quadruped, Mines. I have no idea how to pronounce that one. Mahjong. I don't know. Of course, Solitaire. Um, for graphics, they have the GIMP, um, some image viewing, LibreOffice Draw. I'm not quite sure why you have both GIMP and LibreOffice Draw, but it is what it is. Simple Scanner, Shotwell Photo, Shotwell of your basic photo uploaders is probably the most common you'll find out there. In Office, we got the LibreOffice suite. Unfortunately, because this is based on 13.10. You do not have the most recent version of LibreOffice. Um, Give it a second here. I have yet to open up LibreOffice on here, so you know it is. First time you're opening something, it lags a little bit. What version is this? 4.1. So that's not too far out of date, but personally, um, I would go ahead and update that to the 4.2 series, which you can do through Ubuntu PPAs. Not hard to do. Yeah, where were we? Okay, Office, sound and video. Zero Disk Burner, which isn't a bad burner. Cheese Webcam, that's a good webcam. I use it on my desktop. Their music player is just called Music. I really haven't played with it that much, but from what I've seen so far, it's simple, basic, easy to use. OpenShot Video Editor. Um, I've played around with OpenShot in the past. When I do the rendering of my videos, I'm using Kdenlive. Um, OpenShot, I think you've got more options, and it's easier to tweak than say the Microsoft Movie Maker. But you don't have near the options of Kdenlive, so it's kind of somewhere in between. Simple screen recorder. That's the one thing that I added. You got a sound recorder app, and then videos. That's your video player. System tools. You got a disk use analyzer, a preference. Of course, your regular admin. Um, this Help Humanity thing. Let me pull it up. You can go to their website and read a little more about it. It's Here you can see Zorin World Community Grid Program contributes your unused computing power to help scientists solve some of the world's most pressing problems, including developing cures for cancer and HIV, AIDS, and other projects to help humanity. Um, you can go to their website, read a little more about it, choose whether you want to install that or not. Where was I? System tools. System monitor is pretty neat. Let me pull that up. And right here it tells you under process, it tells you all the processes that you currently have running, how much CPU, memory, all that kind of stuff that they're using. And then you've got, this is basically a breakdown of what you're using right now. Um, you see, I am on a dual core laptop. Um, I think this one's only like each core is like 1.05 gigahertz or something like that. So you can see I'm using a fair amount of my computing power, but that's I'm running that screen recorder, um, and I've got my browser open and a few other things. So not that I would kind of expect. Memory use with all that stuff that I've got open, I'm running at 658 megabytes. When I've had this open and it's just like a baseline, right after I've started up the computer and not running anything additional, it's usually in the range of 450, 475 megabytes of RAM, which is, I guess you could call that medium weight. It's less than what you see with, say, Ubuntu or Ubuntu Gnome, or Kubuntu, um, but it is certainly more than like an XFCE desktop or LXDE. Um, like I said, kind of middleweight. Um, oh, and then also down here, your network history. You can look at how much uh, your download speeds and all that kind of stuff. File systems there, also how much space you're using, all that kind of stuff. So that's your monitor. Okay, we're under system tools. There's your system settings. Um, okay, here's the look changer I was telling you about. And I will right now we are using the Windows 7 look. Um, say you want to make it look like Windows XP. Click that, click OK. Changes the look. You no longer have the just icons down here. Um, it kind of labels your stuff there. Um, and then the menu is much more of a Windows XP look. And then you've got a Gnome 2 change, which gives you something that looks pretty close to the traditional Gnome 2. You've got a top bar that's got uh, your icon, your indicators, all that kind of stuff, menu up there, workspace changer down here on the bottom, and then what programs we're currently running. Let me run it back to the 7 look. So you've got that changer right there. Um, and then you also have its theme changer. Currently, it just comes with a Zorin Light and a Zorin Dark. Um, if you click on the dark, let me switch it over to the Zorin Dark. So you go to a dark theme. I personally like the look of the dark theme. Downside to it is that some GTK applications don't look pretty anymore, or you have trouble reading them because of the dark theme. And let me show you um, the Software Center, and you'll see what I mean. And this is the Ubuntu Software Center, and it is my biggest gripe with Ubuntu and Ubuntu derivatives is how much of a dog this thing is. Um, if there's one thing I could ask the people at Ubuntu, at Canonical, to do to some change to make to Ubuntu, has got to be the Software Center. I mean, I do just about anything I possibly can to avoid the Software Center because it is such a dog. It hangs up when you've got multiple downloads going on. It's a pain in the butt. I much prefer the Lubuntu Software Center, much better. There's a third party software center called AppGrid. Very nice, very light, fast, easy to use. Um, Most of the time, um, I won't even go this route. I'll go like Synaptic, the package manager, and yeah, I know there's no graphics in that, but for me, that's Synaptic's the way to go. But anyway, um, let me pull out, just pick one of these here. And as you can see, you can't read anything on the white section here. Now, actually, I'm going to throw up a video of how to fix the Software Center so that you can see this stuff. And as soon as I get that video up, I'll throw a link up on this review so that if you want to go and fix it. And it's really easy. Basically, it just rethemes the colors of the Software Center so it's readable with a dark theme. I'll go back to the light theme just so that we can read everything. But yeah, so anyway, there's the theme changer and my big complaint session about the Software Center. That's just, to me, the whole Software Center issue. This is like a core thing that the people at Canonical should be working on. And if you want to attract new users, you need to have that Software Center up and working. Yes, I know that the old hands with Linux systems, you use either the Synaptic, or you're installing stuff via the terminal. But if you want to track those new users, the people that have been on um, the Windows side of things for years, what you're going to do, they install a Ubuntu distribution, and first thing they do, they go to the software center to install software, and it either crashes, or they can't read it, or it lags, or it freezes up. I mean, that it's just, to me, that's totally unacceptable. Anyway, my rant is over. Let's get back to this review. Um, anyway, couple things under universal access. Wine comes pre-installed, and not only do you have Wine pre-installed, it also has Play on Linux installed and Wine Tricks installed. So if you've got some Windows applications that you want to install, um, Wine between Wine and Play on Linux, there's a very good chance that you can get it installed. Um, I've been with Play on Linux. I've installed, geez, I can't speak how many different Windows software packages I've installed. You can do the Microsoft Office, tons of Windows games, um, the Kindle for PC. I mean, there's just, like I said, there's just tons of Windows software that'll work under Wine and Play on Linux. So, um, if you got some Windows applications you need to you can't get rid of, or can't find an alternative to, um, give Wine or Play on Linux a try. Of course, we already looked at the Software Center. This here where it says Places, that's just basically your file system, home folder, trash, network, all that kind of stuff. All right, many of us, when we're installing a Linux operating system, we're installing it on a laptop or computer that originally came with Windows. One of the issues many of us find is the wireless drivers. Um, and something cool that Zorin comes with is they've got a Windows wireless driver. Um, Not actually a driver, but it is an application that allows you to install Windows drivers and use those for wireless cards. Now, a lot on a majority of wireless cards out there, there is either a generic card will work, or not generic card, but generic driver will work, or there is a proprietary third-party driver for Linux, but not always. This application will allow you to use the stock Windows driver, which pretty cool. Because there are those difficult cards out there that we may need a little help with. So that is that's one of those little applications that this comes with that really will help out those people making the move from the Windows side. Okay, as I said, there's a few things that can be a little irritating or frustrating for the experienced user. Um, I've already talked about how, for those of us who like to have the latest and greatest software, we've got, um, we're working off of Ubuntu 13.10 instead of 14.04. So it's lagging behind a little bit. So if you want to go and have the latest and greatest in those in your software that comes along with this operating system, you need to go and add some other PPAs to so that you have the latest updated software. That's one thing. Another is that themes and icons, when they're downloaded, they don't always work quite the way that you expect them to. Especially like with the icons, not all of the icons that you will see on your desktop are pulling from the icon set that you install. So, like, you may install a whole, this new icon set, but this Z in the corner that you may or may not want to get rid of, it's not changing. Um, and there's a couple of other icons that, they don't change as well. So, you know, for the more experienced user, yeah, you'll be able to find the workaround for that, but it's kind of irritating that, you download this set of icons and now you can't use them all. Um, Another thing is with themes, colors may not actually work out the way that you plan them to, just because this is such a heavily modified desktop already. Now, on the plus side, there's already a bunch of tweaks and stuff that you can that are already added in, stuff that you can play around with to change the look. Um, right click on your desktop, change the background. I mean, we've already seen this one, um, but they've got a not a huge selection, but a decent background selection there. You got this planet thing, these dots, and there's, like I said, not a huge selection, but there's a fair number there. Um, you can go and play around with Vontae Window Navigator, which is the taskbar across the bottom. Change the size, the icon, the orientation. Maybe you'd rather have it along the top, do something like that, or do a kind of a sidebar thing, quasi Windows or not Win. I'm sorry, Unity. Um, you've got different styles of panels. That curvy one's pretty cool looking, but then again, you got this little square right here. It's kind of in the way, but you see, there's some different options that you got depending on what you want to look at. So I mean, um, depending on what you want to look at, and like there's some other icon effects on your icons down there. When you click them, you got a glow, a 3D turn, spotlight turn, all kinds of different stuff like that. So I mean, there are other things that you can do, um, different applets that you can add if you want, more monitor, CPU monitor, more gadgets, hardware sensors, all that kind of stuff. There's other stuff you can add, and there's other themes for your dock down there. I mean, we already looked at the styles that you could change it, but you can get this clear, light theme, dust, all that kind of stuff. So you've got some options of things that you can change on your that are already set up in here, but some stuff, if you're working from scratch, this desktop does not behave exactly like a lot of the desktops that us more experienced Linux users are used to working with. Um, That being said, though, I do not think this is a bad desktop. I really like it. Like I said, I used it for a while on one of my laptops, and I didn't switch because I disliked it or it didn't function correctly. It's just that I have this personality quirk where I've always got to be trying something new. So it wasn't on the part of Zorin or anything like that. It was time for me to try something new. All right. Well, I think that about wraps things up. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a big old thumbs up at the end. Be sure to check out some of my other videos. Subscribe if you want to get some more of this great content. As always, I am more than happy to read any comments, questions, all that kind of stuff down in the comments section. So thanks a lot for watching, and see you on the next video.